fellow Ghanaians, and I'm also fellow Ghanaians, and you'll be there to me and Kevin. Okay, so me and Kevin, then a fellow Ghana for additional mama crowd by the original television. We did the Akosia, Asabia, Asumeni, and Nsem A Esisi so, and at me day a brown, a yawa debia, non do ecosi, do back, ya the bro 10 to 11 a.m. Mofan chair said, net time on Akon and New Kakra, yet fide and a year to mention, or an infidel no, as a physical Kakra, I see a trend, a quality production. And then any account was some, and there I better just say a year organized labor needed to any a teacher for a year education sector no omudomu fidie go say omunye adwuma e dey ti no omunye adwuma omu salary there ya to so kakra mom no dey ba na mom allowance bi ese ba no enya maaye omu se e no cost of living allowance na cost of living allowance no hona e na e determine and then Nsem A Esisi so you be finding out oh jumedi so yen twa ho ne yemra ya ba ye de one eye omunimu de efa your cost of living allowance o be cheche yemu ye so be entitled ni seat belt ade na omo de person omo de no mu lose na yen ko break na yen sambra Meda sese waje bre na wo hwe Nsem A Esisi e original television so yam running internet ye program na ye packed enti ye bo no se ne be kan pack na etimi explain bibia e de amount ene ye share ye cost of living allowance labor organized labor force omoji aban fa mo aban no so akoye se sika bi eni ho ye de be mo sese no ye hwe bibia akosi before that no ye share yes so cost of living allowance no Obibeka say government mandated allowance for organized labor. Kase government mandated idea ewo ho as emre bi back no statutory into no bibia omo dia omo etimi ejim. The last time aban ewo my Ghana mu etua cost of living allowance no 2013 under former President Mahama Abanso. Okay. It's organized labor demanded cost of living allowance from 2021 to 2022 and almost shall say omani mo ayedin aduane bo ayedin petrol yentimi nto say day to day activities for man prices of goods ni nyina ekosoro enti say aban no etua omo cost of living allowance wo ho a say omani mo yedin a etua emo omo no say yede mo omo enti my government up to June busumi na wieye so wentimi entua na chese omo fidi anasa omo betu etua ewo oman mu cost of living allowance no 20% and say aban no ede ema organized labor 20% of their salary and also omaketua no ohamu pay mu eduonu and say aban no etua ede kan omo salary no ho ede ema omo iti omugusua na ekobi anase organized labor bia ye friend no concerned teachers association omode ba so omukwa de anka omo 20% no omode omo sa aban no omo 27% na 20% kwa onsan kan o san pre increment no enkoda nche enti July 4th July busumi e de to so 9 na 4 teacher unions Ghana National Association of Teachers NAT National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, and a coalition of concerned teachers, CCT, omo friends some 12 one share mu say aban no mama no June da June busum na ewie no omo ntimi amfa omo allowance no omo enu nti no omo de omo fidia na so omo tuetu omo declare nationwide strike anche Dana 4th July na a Senior Staff Association of Public Universities ewo omei mata say aban school pon anase sua pon mu nyina no senior staff ewo ho omo de betu dwa say ene omo so atueti anti me no ka say de apart from the 4 teacher unions ayabobo din no ene Senior Staff Association of Public Universities no nurses for ni midwife for so say omo do omo fidie ayede ekuo ni nyina eya dey cost of living allowance omani mu ayeten omuntimi nto aduane ndi goods and as a prices of goods e cost aduane boa de petrol boa de it necessary payment and as a statutory payment say ehye aban no tua mo no omo e de be mo GS and as a Ghana Education Service any Ministry of Education so de be tu dwa say teachers for no so omo etua the next schools no mema empaying and as a head teachers and head mistresses no me mo ntu school ni mu but me no ka say wo kwa other regions na yenya ne ntia say schools ni bebre wo ho a oma tutu me say teachers no emba enti yen hwe sa cost of living allowance ya teacher fo e demandi edien ene nsunsanso a ede ba education no eso endra meeting kase pa ekoso Ghana Education Service Ministry of Education and a Ministry of Labor and Employment Employment and Labor Relations ehia teacher fo na enim say aka by close of day there entiase ebeye adwuma eso no meeting no wie no say report say call say who teachers fo na enim omudi piepie na che so omo nyoma adwen kra say omo den e de omo fit omo go back to the classrooms dey enti na see meeting ase yankoshe Deputy Minister for Employment and Labor Relations ora reku brobe one Nsem chofo kasa ya na meeting we den na ban e ka kire teacher for yenko tie na yembra sesia.
Government is in a very dire situation. So we explained to them that the times are not too good, and therefore we were pleading with them. We recognize the fact that they have a legitimate concern, but the timing is not too good, and therefore we have heard them, and they should go back to the classrooms whilst we continue to look at that, look at our books, and see what we can do for them. They have gladly also said that yes, then they're also going to do more consultations with their members and come back to us. But they would wish that if we also have some definitive position, we should call them and they are ready any time to meet with us. So that is where we are. The government side, we are retreating and would reach out to them in very short time to make sure our children do not stay home as a result of this strike. All options are on the table, including the plea bargaining. We are speaking that the times are not good, but their concerns are legitimate. As and when government's position changes, we will let you know. Communicate to them and ensure that we reach out to them very, very soon.
All right, inti Deputy Minister for Employment and Labor Relations ora Bright Reku Brobe na ote say okasa endra efa meeting na ministry no any education ministry GS any teacher for ya omo say omo nya adwuma efise omo allowance no omo sign kan no e na ekochie mo asama o kan say government is in dead situation say sika na ebi ni ho but teacher unions na ekoye no ena yenya baako was studio a person in the common na omo edian and ekosi posture of government say and then scan be ni ho into da be no ma show omo say ometua sika na mo na until say omo betua sika na mo no omo nko classroom na wasi na ebe yes say kola no and say school for no ekocho in social wasi no enye peculiar to Ghana West Africa Examination Council into no say yakase ye council Ghana a few a crisis na eba na ni nyina no ene ye guest wo studio ebedi nkoto ye guest Owura Frank Jechi or ye Deputy Communication Director edema Concerned Teachers Association wo my Ghana mo good morning na apomu to say
yami adom
na sasa no pe ba na wo classes na na waye wani me sreshe wani wo crown pesa obesa say mo de abufo ni fra ye nyina na say
there be from sa
I know ma won so kakra
ya from sa yes na asem na ekoso no emu awrem nti ya na afa enipadua ni nyina
sao
nti ya hu ni sa
no okay it's no yan share meeting no eno amko meeting no dan esi
yo answer ma minchia wahwefo ene watiefo na minchia me president Mr. Kinyali Yaudu ene achechirefo a Ghana nyina enra aban to nsa frɛ yɛn sɛ yɛ mehyia na yɛnhwɛ kwan yɛ bɛfa so a yɛbɛtumi resolve the impasse a ɛda yɛn ne ntɛm yɛkɔɔyɛ no aban no represented by the Labour and Employment Minister no ne na bɛdi akyire
okay
nti GS boss nso ɔno nso no wɔ hɔ Fair Wages and Salaries Commission CEO was present Ministry of Finance nkɔfoɔ nso baayɛ unions yɛnyinaa nso yɛkɔɔ kama nti ne yɛnim sɛ yɛakɔ no yɛkɔ akɔtie biribi afiri wɔn hɔ a ɛbɛma yɛakoma ato yɛ mu a yɛbɛka sɛ bi ɔkyerɛ nkora no yɛsan akɔkɔdi adwuma ɛwɔ classrooms but unfortunately ne yɛkɔduru yɛ no biribi saa amba
almost then government said
government baayɛ no ɔde nsa pan na baayɛ ɛna ɔbɛpa akyɛw sɛ ɔsrɛ yɛnkɔ nkɔkyerɛ adeɛ na ɔmo nwene ho na sesei no nneɛma mu ayɛ den ɔmo kɔ IMF na a whole lot of things yeah the 20% na aba nti mo background mo fa bibi nyɛ den emra pon no so
okay so I can more expect say even not the 20% crown
at least
and come for bibi emra
yes 20% okay last year me kasa about 27-25%
right
and I drop about 20% nti mo small ba no ye hwɛ sɛ mo di bibi bɛyɛ den ebe kura ba pon no so yɛn kɔtena pon no so saa kɛkɛ ensɔre nkɔ
some of the apacha on a buy
apacha no sɛbio ntumi ntɔhwe ɛkyɛw pa yɛn fɛ ntɔadeɛ ɛwɔ dwom what you say nti die nti a yɛ aba ya declare strike no sɛ wafrɛ yɛn sɛ yɛmra na yɛn si nkonya deɛ a na ɛwɔ sɛ wodi bibi ɛbɛto pon no so ɛnyɛ nsapan na wode bɛto pon no so
so we understand say mo allowance I mean confirm for me say the last time you tua bibi sama na 2013
yeah yes 2013 Mahama exercise Mahama time no
2013
tua I think twice or so my
twice as na 10%
15% yes
10% 15% okay it's obi beka say we understand say system na tough we understand say niam boa yedin na enya sa time na obi beka say as a country no you entitle your bet na nyina you share the way forward ana
menua teacher for you tighten your belt ache 2021 2022 negotiations are quiet for base pay
yeah
aban ka kire say covid aba omani mo ayeden nti osre yenje 4% for 2021 and 7% for 2022 na ye nyina ya mmoa na ye build the economy no na arehemu ne say afie ya yesimu no bibia be kama inflation na 9% inflation was going to go down further ye 7 na ye nya no kra no e bia ebebro so mpa mayen
right
na idea na ye hu no
Obibaka said that was projections into projections now them
fine nti o ka say tighten your belt nti 2021 ya tighten your belt so much say be ya ebetumi aban ne betumi de na magu akwan mu na economy na etumi apagya
right
na ya about 2022 now things are getting worse for how long and I say you cost of tighten your belt
me ba confirm my base salary increment and I reflected
oh yes it started January
this 2022 yes. January I know they are reflecting
sure.
But allowance we the money wo mo person mo saka
menu aba yete oman yi mu ye hu ne ye ko oman ni mu ye si afie mu ya tofo abu sen to do sen Ghana transport fares akosoro how many times
Obibaka say any teacher unions nkwa na efa this hardship we are all going through the hardship abeti na see a treat mo peculiar even though we know say the allowance on started to say etuama we agree but it's not good times ye nyina ye famu why should you be treated peculiar
wo he ya wo ye adwuma yi say ahokyere e wo adwuma nso a ho na besu akere no besu akere hwan
me na me bisa question
to besu akere boss me boa boss of our adwuma na besu akere no
boss ka say
e bia
income ma sika ma ye home so kakra
na ti say munya sika a wo de ba adwuma waso home so kakra na woni sika a wo de to aduane de aba adwuma
salary aba mo increment na wo ka say January aba
na ye ka kire o say inflation saying ne time now my 4%, inflation was 9%. Today inflation is getting to 30%.
Right.
In Tisasi Kana de Maya, no, it has been eroded long time. And from the co in Tisika, Nanke to Ade 1 city that time, no. And nobody here be at 3 cities and how they are the same at the chrono.
Mr. Sechi, it's then they be breaking you back. I mean, then because for now, government say the situation is not good. Sikani do be to mama, but see a generation as to say there. Ebi ni wo de pe mamu. It's what's the way forward?
Minya, enye so man e biduru ha o. She shall say free baby. My mouth eyi kakra 2021 November. And I hear first press conference. Extra krata come out by say on share ya settle my February the search will be come out by on here settle my March the same thing. May the same thing. June, okay, say June 30th. Yeah, my deadline.
Yeah.
Say June 30th. Do not say a buying free any internasia. Yanka say June 30th. Do not say a buying no MI in Sikanoa. Yes, say on free any internasia. Yeah, because strike. A buying internasia one fee bia, one free bia and internasia. And the issue is that say, nanke a chance ha buying be free. Na only no one can be behind. Actually,
and no buy. And no buy almost can be ni ho. Into munya but to be
a bini ho into na one free na.
Okay, so more expect some confirm early than Endrano.
Sure, some me say a November 2021.
Right.
And a shall say born epono.
It is that time in your negotiations be ankoso.
Let her no cry a troy cry no. There was no acknowledgement of receipt. Say be a match worker at Abraham, I responded.
Right.
My reply so be a saying say that's it. Nothing. You call a strike ya and son I'm afraid. Into say I'm free and call strike in the eye. Into let us say one cabin sabi onte.
Okay. All right. Inti Mr. Jechi Jinasoka Krama me na yenko eye mrashebedwam e parliament yenko share ranking member e committee of education ora Peter Nochu e so yenhwe ne nkasa emfa eye niesi e de no mo kafa ho we de daben no mo so omo be get involved. What are they waiting and so ma get involved? It's yenko ne ora Peter Nochu parliament and no enkasa. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning. All right, since you train na Mr. Nochu feed no abama me fan to just say Mr. Nochu ya na chi no onya de nti e be poto kakra na ye wi a mebo ne tofa na me de ama na one no ye hu ensam no pese oka no ya ti ase ni feed no eba or ye best. All right. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you too for
Right.
having me.
So we are back to the education sector one more time with strikes and agitations and non-payment of allowances and so forth. Were you anticipating this, or did you foresaw this coming at this stage?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I will say so. Because for almost 2 months now, the teacher unions and TEU have been agitating for the award of a cost of living allowance, taking into consideration the hardship that everybody is going through now in this country. Prices of commodities and everything have gone up. So they are also asking for a mitigation allowance that can, in the interim, cushion workers. So government was not responding to them. They gave government 30th June deadline. So once government was not responding and we were not hearing anything, I did not know. Or okay, let me say that I knew very well that by 1st July this was going to happen because they were already determined to go on strike. So I am not surprised at all.
Okay. So Honorable, put political sentiments out. Like, I'm asking you to put your political sentiments out. Where do you stand now? Taking into consideration the economic crisis we find ourselves, in Ghana now?
Yes, you see, if you know the history of this CoLA in the country, during the days of President Rawlings, when he was chairman of PNDC, anytime we went into economic crisis like this, and things were becoming very difficult for workers, they will give some allowance because negotiation for salary would have to delay for some time. So in the interim, maybe take a 10% cost of living allowance just to mitigate what the people are suffering. So we were expecting that government was going to tell them that, bear with us. We'll be having a mid-year review program, that is the budget review, by the middle of July. Maybe we can incorporate it into our mid-year budget review. But they were not promised anything. So the first that the government did not bother to mind them. And that is why they have gone on the strike. Cost of living is very high. Look at how much fuel is now. So it is not only for teachers that I will want this cost of living allowance to be given. All public sector workers should be given something so that you can cushion them along the line, because strike negotiations will not take place now. So to me, it should not be only for the teacher unions, but all other public sector workers, something small to mitigate their suffering. I think that is what I will advocate for.
Again, considering the times we find ourselves, is it appropriate for them to demand this time around?
The situation in which we find ourselves now is self-inflicted. We have caused it ourselves.
When you said self-inflicted, what do you mean, sir? When you say self-inflicted, what do you mean,
sir? The way we went about the economy. The way we went about the economy, borrowing recklessly, which has increased our GDP. We have to pay so much, about 80% or 90% of whatever we get every month goes into loan repayment and interest payment. This is the situation in which we will find ourselves. When we spend recklessly, we don't prioritize our expenditures. This is what happens. So it's self-inflicted. When you don't do the right thing and anything happens to you, it's self-inflicted. That is what I am saying.
Again, what are the underlying indicators that determine the payment of CoLA?
The CoLA, you see, as I said, is an allowance. It is based on your basic salary. So if your basic salary is 1,000 and they are asking for 10%, so 10% of 1,000 is 100 cedis. That is what they are asking for. So they are asking for 20% of the basic salary, not allowances. You don't pay CoLA on allowances. It's only the basic salary. And every public sector worker has a basic salary. So that is what they are asking for. So government's inability to meet them early enough, I think, has brought about this. And the effect is going to be on the children. Because the calendar already is not good for us in the public schools. During the COVID, they lost almost 1 year.
Right.
And we should be working towards reorganizing, rescheduling the timetable so that we can go back to the old system of September to August. But this is where we find ourselves now. So it's going to affect the calendar for schools, especially when they are going to write WASE recently, and then in October they'll be writing the BECE. So if we don't take time and then we end whatever problem it is now, and then the teachers go back to school early enough, the challenge is going to be heavy for us, and it will have consequences on our education in the country.
Have the Education Committee in Parliament met over this? When are you stepping in?
If you remember the story of UTAG, we came in at a point where nobody, that is the government and UTAG, were not ready to listen to each other again. There was a deadlock. So we came in as mediators. We called the two parties together. So it is too early now to go into this matter. Let government engage the teacher unions. And then when they have done that and they are not getting any headway, we will then come in and then try to talk to both sides. We are not going to negotiate on behalf of them. We will only talk to them to look at the effect of the actions they have taken, both by government and then by the unions. Then we'll come to a compromise. That was what we did the other time when we gave government 1 week within which to respond to UTAG, and they did. So we will not enter now. It is not our business. We are going to watch them from the touchline, and if it becomes necessary, we get onto the field. We will do so at the appropriate time, but not when negotiations have not come to a deadlock.
Don't you think if the teachers should go back to their classrooms whilst negotiations are still ongoing? Especially now that we know.
It will be difficult for me to say so now.
Please go ahead.
It will be difficult for me to say so now because this is only the first week of the strike action. What has government brought on the table for them? So if we know what government has for them on the table, then based on that, as a committee, we can appeal to them that, with this development, look at the situation in which we find ourselves. But if government has not come to the table with anything, we are pleading with you, go. They too no help. And let me also advise that government officials should talk well, because if the way they are talking, it will not help the teachers or it will not help government. Because if you are saying during COVID, they stayed home, they were paid. So why are they on strike now? It will aggravate the situation. So I would like government appointees to also know how to talk in public as far as this teacher strike is concerned.
Honorable, we know the circumstances we find ourselves as Ghanaians in this economic hardship as at now. Don't you think it's about time we all tighten our belts, we all sacrifice for us to come out of this economic situation? I mean, even though you say we inflicted it upon ourselves.
But sacrifice must come at a point in time. When your children are suffering, just listen to them and make things clear to them. Let them understand the situation. Every home will have an economic crisis. And I think parents sit down their children and tell them, because of this, we cannot do A, B, C, D for you again. Let government engage the teacher unions and talk to them and see what will happen. Because the nurses have also indicated that they are also demanding the 20% CoLA, that they support the decision of the teachers. So if they should also join any strike now, where are we going? So government must be proactive. That is my position. Government must be proactive and talk to them. Sit down with the nurses, the teachers, and then come out with something quickly to help mitigate the situation so that the teachers can go back to the classrooms early enough.
Respectfully, sir, are you aware yesterday government met the teacher unions?
I am aware they met and it was a deadlock. Nothing came out of it. It was inconclusive. And that was not good enough. Yes. But they only went there asking them to go back to the classroom. But what did they go with? What explanation did they go with? Yeah, if they had done that well, I am sure that probably the teachers would have told their members that, the discussions went well. So I think we are going to make some headway. Listening to the teacher unions yesterday, I realized that they were rather disappointed after the meeting. Yeah, so there's a need for something to be done as quickly as possible by government so that we can resolve the matter. It is not good for us as a nation.
Because, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Having come out with a broken timetable for schools, there's a need to continue well to end the program successfully.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Honorable Peter Nochu, a ranking member, our Committee of Education, our Parliament, and I say, Mrashe Bejemu, or any din kita honia, or can say, standard government, any teachers na ajina tumuna, na SSA, entiasia den juma, or so no, or ditumuse, emraso se abano, etia CoLA allowance no, edema teachers no, or so now I expect to say a bedu BBC. Sad deadlock ebetimi aba if you say emra na teacher unions ne kasa nyina no na government no empese obeti mibisa ne se ohun se emra ye find yourself here difficult se ye nyina ya sacrifice se ne be ya ye betime face economic crisis mo or say sa crisis ma ye we de ye na ye de ba ye ho so we inflicted it upon ourselves into no kwan ye se aban no eye na ye free mo no na se aban no eye na wo free mo ye nko quick break ye ba Frank Dechi Ora Frank Dechi ewa ha ono ye deputy communication director e de ma concerned teachers association ewa maimu ye besa ya koye region 1 or 2 regions ne akotwe sa no pay school for no mo ko school ahodo no school semon etisen school for ewa ho ana ye nko quick break ne yamra sesia Meda sibium se wasan agibre na watwene akọ break aba ene ye hye organized labor wo krom ha omodo omo fidie agugu ho so omunye edwuma biom kosise aban ebetua na ye fe no cost of living allowance na etwanitia no CoLA de emo no se na medi kan ekan ye no ye omo right and as ye statutory payment se oman ni mu den na eniama bo ekosoro petrol bo ekosoro enduane bo ekosoro eya na aban no ewo sika bi a ode ekuchin eye organized labor meche TUC meche teachers union meche other organized labor ewo omanyimu eye mra na obi bisa se eye mra de nenso ene emra ye fa yourself you eye appropriate se omobisa eye sika na endra aban ene teacher union se omode omose omunye adwuma ko se ebetu sika amomo ekohia ye na ensem eba no enye ensem a eye papa me no ka say teachers no enko classroom ye omo CoLA of classroom ye ene ye ne teacher group back one omo na endra omo meetings a ekoso efa eye omo striking home meche concerned teachers association ewo my Ghana mo omo deputy communication director Ora Frank Deche na me no ewo studio ha Ora Frank inti then mama kwa classroom apart from say betu musika na mama
anu an betu am yakwa classroom
na aban ba no so mama time frame no fentu mama no so mo mpene
time frame say
oh say maka mate but mama me dia bosume ba ko bosume mienu na me fentu mama na mo kwa classroom na mo ko hwe school for no na won ese so mo tro exams mo mbo mo no mo tro exams no eno mo nye
I say cost of living allowance no Sankari Saka no February January and the year kwa 6 months ababes nako we are left with 6 months
6 months right
nti se oka say yensan ma 2 or 3 months biom na ensan mesen ko it means you are going to pay like 2-3 months na mai na you
oh
bedu oni you
for church down so you are northern region your correspondent on northern region Nuruddin Ibrahim you just are not pay northern region schools to send away to me akoshe no koye no e dey na situation no Nuruddin, good morning sir.
Good morning.
Anope, what to say?
Right.
Right. So how many schools no to me have visited now koye no school for no ho and some lock classrooms no.
You buy ma son obisane the teachers track need there I take a full effect send the Monday no me report here no. We share over PM our mother region high and at September to precise no organ use at now call schools ahodo bebre Tishibu Anglican Kapwane junior high school Jakaria junior high school any Kuko junior high school any SDA any Tishibu like school Dawson school the organ use and there and anapowe yatimi have visited like I say almost all the schools ya calling school kwara omuni ho bakukura we couldn't even spot even one student at the school when we visited the various schools this morning as compared to Tuesday no not Tuesday there etini ekore na school kwara no mo ho ball few teachers were hanging around but not teaching and learning was not going on now so every indra urban there almost school the yatimi akoni nyina teacher bakukura anyhow school kwano so bakukura anyhow the classrooms are locked almost all the schools that Oregon News visited this morning so for now like I said the strike action there is in full force.
Northern region.
Northern region. Okopemu Sanyarugu, Savulugu, Yendi, Tamale, Gushagu, almost all these places no strike no Kosu Iyepa and then public toilet be a ban. Jakai Junior High School. And then at school. Toilet any school and share the enwa. Now kora bebre toilet no edging agro. And akora bako eto binimu. Sa toilet no omu tank no ayama ana omu yi edi gu form. And the school will be at to form our start binimu. And the Sician of my funnel, I could pay so fair, Omufa and Jarano. So, when in actually school, so many school, so many things will be happening to them.
All right.
So, for now, there I have seen the rapid effect of the strike. I didn't see something ma Shamu Ayabia upon when I'm my boy school color almost
right. Nuruddin, yeah, that's it. 12. Remember back to you. Ni just say to me as a son, as a form of fan chair, I mean, I be sebi, a janina or casa colana to a janan sebi, more fan chair, a nopa, a biana would did our test, yes, so more fan chair. Mr. Jetty, Osha visuals, na ya local schools, no in our kind, how do you feel? So go back to the classroom.
It's sad, but you see, and yet teacher for pay, they say, yet nefi. All casa crack or ya nimuno. Meraho. Now, some penny for say, in fact, I ask him and share bang.
Mamma Mrs. Sarkozy, many other than I am more there, I am more critical time as a more cost strike. Maybe exams be do pet, and I am buying when you much. I want to know the rationale behind it.
No. Every year be your exams.
But I am said that year no person more cost strike. I am more exams na be pay. To say na wasi I be pay na more go say. I say I am be bantino.
No, I'm saying say every year your exams.
Yes.
Me boy. Until year be a cost strike be no. There's exams we will have say true.
Until go try exams ni be.
Until no na say offer ya enka strike nka yanko.
Na most of train SSC for trauma was serious na call.
No, you see, you ma buy time o. Near man time say obetumi are responding to us. That is why I can November 2021. Satam na kofre ya. You see, last year in Kenya strike. And our Labour Commission afraid. Because Labour Commission free ya tenants didn't community strike and yanko. What I say? Until near his abambe fraying.
Labour Commission kwasa mo command can jump some more. Only musanya mo be some legitimate, but at least more cost strike mo man not say any year cost man trust and not what say more kasa more cost strike.
Say your cost strike you attend or respond. The time now ye did die tron crat and the one thing.
Okay.
And you say
I say teacher unions more hard dream pa your concern for no unim sir.
Sana waka.
More hard dream papa. I say bibia mo opposition wo de yanko kuma se ya pa me di sa answer na fro ba concern for no more hard dream papa. Yanko Ashanti region kuma se ya nam sini e wo Bismarck Mensa. Ora Mensa, good morning. Hello Bismarck, good morning.
Good morning, Pastor. What do you mean, Kabajo?
Me te won kapa na anopai abropo be na wakwa na school for no omo school na omo tifie.
Bring about me that so far with like I said striker and penifo for and this you are the for no coin no addition for no school to be on ma and chronic coin. It was so to check for so ma even say ko eguapa outia a school for na makra para so SDA a school for na ma omo to dining in mu obi en mu no ko prep college junior higher with like I said a school for no buy dem a check for the ko no mu nyina e ti ho no ma yes obi anta the crown say or the blackboard and actually and Canada. So, like I said, prepare college and in school, and Crano, Equia, like I say, a woman of Honma, go dear, grow, go bumpy to bumpy, do also it's a broading kwa ana omudi e wo perfectly school mono.
Bismarck, and what the report me by say school be do hine correct me for the pronunciation as the name of the school. What the ba say and am say there are no supervision of teachers for holding to know oyene kakra bi si ho akoto police for anim eno no anopa yakosi say.
Yeah, but I say Bismarck say do my senior high school ni nyina ne say abrante na teacher Nsem A Esisi kan epa ne film no unu say abra at the for course strike no am not any APA for abonten na so far no pay make say the updating yan say omotime apem ne tini bibia de bani yan bia ma na mum no ne Nsem A pa de nya ba abrante no ontimi enfa nyi bibia because the opa kan nyina ne say omu behia 30,000 Ghana cedis asana abrante no etimi internet ma ye dia e dia ma no so far there so omunyanchi nipa na omukodi sabone no anapai meni asamema ne kasai no so ye say emrante no eye nipa makoma kutu baako ana omunyina prince school say emrante enai bi ajumo phones ana mo yesi fade tade ombeko na makojumo phone back enso buko ya mega say emube engotwene de omudwane manaka abrante no nko a nipa nan no de sekan chuchucha na on say nipa nan no so no ebi musu eprepre yi pa omusu eje ayarehwe.
All right, Bismarck, that's a no 12 noon, you be for news now. What the updates at the abre, and I'm seeing a year Asante Mantemo, Kropon Kumase, Bismarck Mensa, and I would say, and then the Casan, a bit, a bit of Cocofodia, Naya Kosha Hon Swaba, and I buy a nice some of the almost school in the fit, and no economic lucky. Minimum day, yeah, say, Muko second students, and I know school teachers cost second answer the debut, but I know CCT4, I don't know how abansa.
Yeah, how about
because even 20% quite more advocating for 27%.
You see,
a man is some more. Yeah, call IMF.
I'm a CCT4.
First,
your motto, quality education, our concern. Your focus is the welfare of the teacher. Inti adie bi afa a church adwuma ho no. You make sure say aye.
Are you saying that teacher unions no mo nwen say mo members?
Obisa CCT. And I'm responding.
As a boy kutie bi no.
There be obisa say ehe na free ba.
Mo free he.
Baby free ba na ye kire no.
Na kire me.
What you say? Sadia a church for akwa hohiahia mu a che wo man anim no. Ye ba say beboa. Ama church for afa ade wo mo ho. Na
mo wona na mo te mo ho meboa.
CCT you be na wona.
But the majority of you na mo wona na mo te mo ho.
Na ye wo other unions
including NAT. Na mo te mo
ho. But me che say ye botaye no. Enta de bi out ye nka no. Ye person teacher ni no enya no fa ho dey economically.
Monya politically influence there.
Na say a friend is saying NDC wo no say NDC for MP4 so buy.
That's what I want to find out why they monya politically influence. And I say government be aba na monya politically influence.
Yeah, the end say ye hwe ne ekoso. Na ya act.
Okay.
Your members who beto wo mu at the chair be koso. Say nye akotia ho kwa na ye call strike in those things no. Chalk no how you beka ho asem, textbooks no how you beka ho asem, infrastructure no enye papa you beka ho asem. Quality education.
So finally,
that's what
IMF talks now started. Are you expecting say ombeka say review free SHS policy nana? Are you in support of the review of free SHS policy?
Yes, I'm in support. That's my opinion.
Review?
Yes.
Where do you want it to be reviewed? Briefly, 30 seconds. Now your time into.
Yes. Wastage kakra wum. For example, day students are ye feedi woman. Obako kran no money. What I say? Waste. Boarding school na boarding no mo no. Adentina meba eko boarding school. Na buy na efa hoka.
Okay.
How about day students for now come so bit na boarding yeah, omni enough accommodation to omutiti fee no.
All right. All right.
Nti boarding ne dey odo ba eko boarding school I also utumi tua hoka.
Okay.
Inside ba fa hoka.
All right. Is it your personal view and I said the view
it's my view.
Your personal view, not the consent.
No, it's my personal view.
All right. adehema ma aha ne edu besi yo se agro ne ye de no na emre so kwa na ekọ aha ne edu besi me da ase sa woje bre na o share ye me da team na production team na se me producer Cynthia on na okọ parliament etimi fa eye ranking member no live for parliament me da obi ase control MCA obi bia da se ne ye be se ye hia ewo original TV me dey akosi asabe asumani Muslim men can fellow Ghanaians monopolize it. I mean can fellow Ghana for. Bye bye.